Hi everyone, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So today we are going to be reacting to, or I am going to, well, I just have some comments on a portion of Uncorked with Brande's live stream, our final say. Now, if you are one of my viewers that come for my panty hauls or my beauty hauls or my makeup videos or my food videos or vlogs, you may not be interested in this, and I totally understand. I do have some great stuff coming up for you. I have a panty haul coming up, which I'm very excited about because it's some cute stuff, but very soon that's coming up, probably within the next 48 hours. But I did want to give some input, of my own input on this video, this live stream by Uncorked with Brande, because I watched it and I have some things I want to say about it. Now, Brande, if you're watching, what I did was I screen recorded the portion of the live stream that I wanted to talk about, because I did not want to go through the whole live stream and kind of steal that from you. I'd rather, if people want to watch the replay of the whole live stream, they go to your channel and do that. So I just kind of just screen recorded this one part and then uploaded it privately so I can just react to this one portion. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I have just some information, just not information. I just have some things to say about it. And I really do enjoy Brande and Kendall. I like their personalities. It feels like you're just there with them chatting. And I like that about a person. So we're going to go ahead and get this started so I can react. Now let me put my glasses on for a minute. They're not going to stay on, so don't worry about if there's a glare. It's not going to be constant. Okay, so we're just going to get started. I'm going to pause it a lot so I can talk, but just listen up. Listen up.
Have a true story. We could be in the same chats and not be going at each other. Yes. Because it makes it.
Oh, I also want to say that I don't want anyone coming in my comments telling me who I am. Okay. I know who I am as a person. I am capable of disliking someone, but still seeing things from their point of view if it's necessary to see things that way. But I'm not going to just willy-nilly defend someone whether I like them or dislike them. And I'm not going to go after someone whether I like them or dislike them. I'm going to say my piece and what I feel and my opinion. And that's all this is my opinion. No one has to agree with me. But anything I say in here is not because I'm coming after Fancy. I'm not coming after Fancy. But you all know my opinion of her, and that stands. And that's not what I'm doing in this video. But if it seems like I'm coming for her, then that's just how my opinion is rolling. It has nothing to do with me disliking her and everything to do with, what I believe being a functional adult in society is, basically. Okay.
It's uncomfortable for other content creators. And that's not okay. Stevie says, Gypsy is messy and reckless right now, but I also understand why she is making a mess like most of us done. Yes, that's
well, a lot of what we're seeing now goes back to the psychology side of this case that nobody wants to really dig into.
So I actually really do want to discuss the psychology of Gypsy Rose, but I feel like people will come after me saying, you're not qualified. And no, I'm not. When I do that, if I do something like that, I'm not saying I'm qualified. I'm just giving my opinion based on my education on psychology, which is college electives. Okay. It's not anything major. It's not anything deep, and nothing I say should be taken as a diagnosis. Nothing I say should be taken as gospel, for sure. When if I do decide to talk about the psychological side of it all, it's not about me trying to diagnose dips. It's not about me trying to diagnose Gypsy Rose. It's me giving input just on what I know and what I've learned. It's not me saying, I know this to be true and I'm right. I'm not a person that just says I'm right, and if you disagree with me, you're wrong and you need to burn in hell. I'm not saying that, but I have wanted to talk about the psychological side with regarding Gypsy. It's just difficult to tackle when you have people coming at you saying you're not a psychologist. And I think anybody who has a brain can discuss psychological matters. They just can't say definitively what something is. They can't definitively diagnose somebody, but I think everybody's allowed to talk about it. So we'll just see where it goes from here.
There's just a page in their book, and it's half of the story. But I know she keeps throwing up at me with the Colleen situation and the other situation with the young girl. And I don't watch her or Ryan, but I'm at work the other day. Phone starts blowing up. Brande starts telling me what they're putting up about Sarah.
Yeah,
and I can't be on my phone continuously while I'm at work. So I'm spot checking, right? Every time I can get a chance to do it. And I'm seeing the truth that they put out. And Brandy's telling me what I'm not getting to see. She's telling me what's going on. And we had already caught, before this situation, we had already caught several, I guess just lies. I mean, I want to say red flags, but definitely things that didn't add up from the very beginning.
I told Kendall from the very beginning, I don't trust her. And if
everyone told me to stay away from her.
And I even told Pink Cat that if she wasn't, how did I put it, Kendall? Oh, I'm trying to remember how I put it. I was tired of taking bullets for people that couldn't stand their own. And if she fucked me over, I would be her worst nightmare. I wasn't going to play nice.
Yeah. But
on this panel, I let her talk. I didn't necessarily agree with everything other than the food thing. I did agree with that because I know my friend does. I don't understand the pizza part of it, but I understand that my friend with pancreatic.
I didn't understand the pizza part of that either. My coworker with pancreas health issues was like, she couldn't even look at pizza. No, I'm just kidding. She could look at pizza. I'm just trying to emphasize how serious it was if she ate pizza. Because she couldn't have cheese. She couldn't have bread. She couldn't have the seasonings. Poor thing.
Issues when she hasn't been able to eat and she's hungry. There's certain things that she wants, and that's the only thing she can keep down. That I understand. She ain't going to eat pizza. But I let Sarah talk. I just let her talk. And she's mad that she had 4.5 hours to talk and did not get her story out and is mad at me and literally went to Veda.
Okay, she's mad. All right. So Sarah's mad. And right now I don't know the entire story. But so I watched that entire live stream. And y'all know, a lot of y'all know, I don't watch long live streams. But I watched that entire live stream, listened to it. And Sarah spent most of her time going, and taking 4 minutes to say, and she had plenty of time to get her story out. And I don't know. I think all these people, like Sarah, Fancy, the people in Fancy's circle that are working with her now, I think they're all POSs. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep it clean. POSs, pieces of shiitake mushrooms.
Jade trying to get my channel taken down.
And then lied to me about it.
And that was where it first started. And I went to Kendall, and Kendall was like, yeah, but that's not, she wasn't seeing it yet either. And then I sent her the whole conversation, and she was pissed.
Well, here was the thing with me with Veda, I don't follow Veda. I didn't find Veda. I don't like some of the things that Veda had done in the past, not with this, just some other things that I feel like at the time, not now.
Now, I can say this. I don't know a lot about Veda, but I know that she had my back at one point, and I appreciate that. Someone some nobody who has no idea who I am claimed I have a criminal record, which I do not have. And it pissed me off. But she removed that part of the live stream where someone made that claim. I still want to know who that coward is. I want that person to step forward and tell me what my criminal record is, because maybe y'all should contact my boss too, because you can't work in the field I work in with even a misdemeanor. So I'm sorry. I'm still, I know that was months ago, but I'm still, and I know I should let that go, but I'm still pissed off about that. I'm still pissed off about that because I detest criminals. And for someone to sit there, not know me, not know a damn thing about me, to say I have a criminal record, I want to know what they have in their mind, what my criminal record is, because I want to know if it was fun. Did I have fun getting this criminal record? So it pisses me off. It pisses me off, and I want that person to frickin' make themselves known. I want them to have the balls to say, I'm the one that lied and said you have a criminal record. I want that person to come forward and say that. I do. I do. Because I thought someone had said it was Fancy, but then Veda corrected and said it wasn't Fancy that said that, but she will remove it from the video. So, okay.
But at the time, I felt like Veda does what she does for subscribers and clout and, attention. Not attention to herself, but to build her channel. But then again, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to do content that builds your channel. So I didn't like that private text messages was sent to Brande. And I kept saying, but I don't understand. This is just going to cause problems. I don't understand. I don't believe in, when you're friends with someone, to send a conversation that you had in private and expose that. I don't like people that do it. I believe it's nasty and it's shady. But then after I calmed down and I heard Veda speak on why she did it, and I understood then her point of view.
She knew I needed proof. If she was going to make allegations, I had to have proof.
And after I listened to her herself speak on the live and explain that, even that she even said she doesn't like doing that. So that was where I had the problem. As I don't like that. I think that's shady. It's just shady to me. But so then I went to Sarah and I questioned her. We hadn't really been talking for a few days before that happened. And I questioned her about, did you try taking Brande's page down? Sarah did not ask to come to Brande's page. She was either going to go to Veda's, her own, or she asked me to do mine.
She told you she didn't want to do Veda's, but then she was telling Veda other than that.
No, she didn't say she didn't want to do Veda's.
Oh, okay. I thought
I
said Veda's because she was Fancy's friend.
No, it's kind of true, but she couldn't decide where she was going to go. And at this point in time, I had spent so much time with Sarah, right? And when I had Colleen reach out to me too. So I was talking to both of these girls, and both of them I'll just say stressed, because I'm not putting any other information out there, but I was going back and forth with both of them. And I felt like for the longest time, not that I was babysitting them. I don't mean it to sound that way. It's just that all of my time was going to comfort them. And I'd spent all this time with Sarah, and then she's ready to speak. And she's talking about going on other pages to speak. And I told Brande, I said, why do I feel used? Like, I feel used, that I spent all this time, and now she wants to speak, and she's going to go to somewhere where, and I did tell Sarah that at least on Brande's channel, if Brande will let you, because at this time I hadn't even asked Brande, it's like, at least there we can protect you from the trolls. Now, I think Sarah took that as, we're going to protect her from people asking hard questions. And that
was definitely true. I think that she thought there weren't going to be challenging questions. I think she thought she was going to be like brushed with a feather duster. They were going to be little softballs thrown at her. And if you're going to do some shady crap and you're showing yourself as a shady person, people are going to ask you the hard questions.
Never not. I meant that we would protect her from trolls coming in that, were just being mean to be mean. So she said, well, will you do it on yours? And I'm like, I have blocked so many people on my page because I don't give a crap about my page. I was like, nobody's really going to see it. I've really only got people on my page that I like, so nobody's going to see it. I said, let me talk to Brande. And she said, well, the last time we talked three-way with Brande didn't really talk to me. And I said, that's because Brande don't trust you. Brande doesn't like it that I'm having anything to really do with you.
And I don't blame Brande, and I don't trust her either, just based on that whole live stream. And then really, I don't trust her based on the video that we're not discussing because of the court case, but I'm going to discuss it. There was no shove. There was no chest bump. There was no aggressiveness. There was no yelling in that video. And that she sat there in the car with Fancy and was just talking about how just aggressive and nasty the lawyer and the guy was. And like, wow, what a little snake. We just watched that. And they're all just not, when I say they're all, I don't mean Brande and Kendall. I mean, like, the people associated in that group are just snakes. They're snakes.
Because she has a feeling. And I was like, but Brande will, if I ask her to, she will. And so that's
I
how
have this thing about, I'm going to sit and listen, and I'm going to let you talk. So because I'm going to hold you to what you're saying, and I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to catch you on your shit. I just let her talk.
Right. So we went through, she went through everything with me, and I kept telling her, I need proof.
Yeah, Brande just let her talk. So if there was something Sarah didn't say that she wanted to say, to get her story out there or whatever, that's Sarah's fault. It was over 4 hours long. You should have said the shit you needed to say. Excuse my language.
I need proof. I need receipts. I need text messages. I need something. I can't go up there and have your back without proof. And she would send stuff here and there, but it was nothing that mattered. There was little bits of things that I guess could have been a big deal, but to me, it was nothing that really mattered in this story. So when I kept telling her, send me the stuff that's got some meat to it that I can prove what you're saying. If Fancy was cruel to you and that's what you're trying to tell me, then you've got to show me something that she was cruel to you, because we've seen cracks in the lives.
Here's here's how I feel about Fancy being cruel. I think that Fancy is a cruel person, and that's because I know that I've had my followers like say something respectfully to her that she disagreed with. They were respectful, but they were telling her something they disagreed with, and she would call them, all of them, filthy names and then block them. That's cruel. It's cruel to call people filthy names. So in that regard, I think that Fancy is a very cruel person. I don't think she's a good person, and I don't think she knows how to be a decent human being. And I think anytime she does come across as nice is because she's got something going on. She's got an agenda. I think she has an agenda. Anytime that she seems and is being decent, there's something there. She's got an agenda because she is incapable of being a genuinely kind person.
But we never seen her being cruel, and she was telling me how cruel she was, but she would never send me anything. I got one text message, which was at the end when Fancy was saying,
I can't speak on whether she was cruel to Sarah or not, but I know calling people filthy names and then blocking them simply because they politely disagreed with something you said, I think that's cruel.
something about fuck off Sarah or something like that. But that was at the end of the relationship. right? They were having trouble then. So them going at each other at the end of a relationship wasn't a big deal to me, because when people fight and a friendship's ending, people are going to say mean things. So I really wasn't like, being that what Fancy said didn't really mean nothing, because obviously there was problems, you know. And this was the day that they supposedly called the meeting to discuss Sarah going on with the company.
And I still have a problem with it being called a company, because Fancy don't pay anybody but Fancy.
And so she would never send me anything. And then we started talking about,
no offense to Kendall, that's just the way she put it. So I just wanted to get that out there.
the money. And the money to me was easy to believe, because I knew that other people had been out a lot of money and had never been paid back a dime. So when she's telling me the same story that's been repeated by most, well, not most, but a lot of people that had left, it seemed very believable. So I pinned her down and said, how much were you out on this trip? And she said 300. And I said, okay, then to be fair, in the live, I will say 150, because if you're splitting everything, then you still went. You still spent money. You still had.
Okay, here's how I feel about that trip. And we're talking about the trip to Missouri for Fancy's court date, because Fancy had a lawsuit filed against her. Fancy needed the ride. Sarah had no reason to go. Fancy should have paid for 100% of the expenses. Every single penny spent on that trip should have been Fancy's treat. Sarah shouldn't have had to pay a dime. And we're going to get to this in a minute, but Sarah was driving her car, driving Fancy's ass around, driving Fancy to where Fancy needed to be, because Fancy was being sued. Fancy should have paid for everything. She should have paid for absolutely everything. All the gas, all the food, the hotel, any kind of extras they did. It should have 100% been on Fancy to pay for all of it. And I say that because, I've taken someone somewhere before where I didn't need to be there, and they paid for 100% of everything, because they were an adulting, and they realized that, I need to do this because, and I need help. So I'm going to pay everything. Not only that, but they paid for my time also. So, but that may just be where we differ in opinion, but it's my opinion. Fancy should have paid for every red cent of that trip, including extras.
Cost. So you can't ask for $300 back when you were half of the cost. And she said, okay. And then I said, well, how much did she pay you back? Did she give you anything? She said, no. And she said, the only thing she gave me was the $30 for gas, when, if it wasn't for Craig standing up and saying, just give her the damn money, Fancy, she wouldn't have gotten that. And then Sarah went off on left field about oil change and tires rotated and all this stuff, which I'd never even entertained, because.
Okay, so after they return, after Sarah gets back with her car, I absolutely think that the person that made her drive that many miles to get her to her court hearing should have definitely paid for her next oil change and her tire rotation. That is just what I feel. Like, that extra wear and tear would not have been put on Sarah's car if she didn't have to drive Fancy around. So Fancy should have had to pay for that. That's just what I feel. Just my opinion.
That's weird. That's
to me, that was stretching.
Yes.
To me, that's stretching.
But
I don't believe that Fancy owed for no tire changes or any of that. So I never even addressed that.
I did want her to show us what she was claiming she needed beforehand, and we never got that.
Right. So on that live, when I forget which one come in and said, well, how about that $200? And Sarah was going off in left field and rambling about stuff that didn't matter. And I kept trying. Brande, how much I had to keep bringing her back to the subject. And she's just going off on stuff that had nothing to do with anything. And when I seen that question in the chat, I knew what the answer to that was going to be. I knew that Sarah was going to say absolutely nothing. So I asked the question. I said, here's a question in the chat. And I asked the question, and she said, and there was something about, what did you do with the $200? So I asked Sarah, and Sarah's like, oh, that $200. And then goes off on that. That's where I'm like, shit. Because it was obvious she either was lying by omission.
And our conversation after that live, let me tell you what, Kendall was beyond pissed.
Yeah, because here it's like, I try it with Fancy. I know she hates me, and that's okay. I'm good with that. I'm always going to call out things that I, with her that I don't see eye to eye with, especially at that time. But when you're putting me in a position that I'm supporting you now for 2 to 3 weeks at this point in time, day and night. The woman does not sleep at night. So, we're talking hours and staying on the phone 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which is not my routine. I sleep at night, and just at one point in time, just feeling like I'm just trying to keep her alive. And I'm not exaggerating. It just seemed like, she was, anyway. And then gets slapped across the face to where I owe Fancy an apology to put me in that position. And Fancy, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I really am, because you put me in a position that only one showing proof here is Fancy, and right is right and wrong is wrong. And Sarah did that to me. So after that, we had more conversations, and
but
I'm
the
like,
sad thing is, it went from 200 to 300 to 500 to, she told Veda 700.
I've never heard 700, but here to get back to that 500,
I heard 700 originally, and honestly, it should have been 0. Sarah should have spent $0 on that trip. Fancy should have paid for 100% of everything.
I forgot about that. On the live that day, she started and switched it to the 500 and said that she didn't mean for it to be misinterpreted, that she did give her 200 and she still owes 3. So I start saying, listen, Fancy has showed receipts and you've given me nothing. So give me receipts to prove what you're saying. And she never would. And her comment back to me was, these people now want my bank statements. I draw the line. That's too far. And I was like, no, you can mark out everything that's personal. You can mark it out. But what you spent on that trip, yeah, people want to know, because you did it on mine and Brandy's live. You've now put me in a position where I owe an apology to someone I don't even want to talk to. And she's like, well, I'm not giving my bank statements. That's just too far. And so I kind of, at that point in time, started pulling away. Just like, you've.
Is that a rooster right here? Is that a cock-a-doodle-doo, Brandy? Oh, baby. Oh, my goodness.
Told lies, and you've put me in the middle of it. And I believed a lot of the things that Sarah told me, because it went along with so many other stories that.
When we were driving around looking for property, because we want to buy property out in farm country around here, and I heard a rooster, and I found him, and he was sitting there, and he's turning his head, and like, hi, rooster. And the owner of the home came out, and he said, oh, you can talk to him. That's fine. He's very friendly. And I said, really? He goes, yeah, he's a real friendly rooster. It was funny. I didn't know roosters could be friendly. I gave him a little rub, like on the side of his face.
Other people had told, right?
So inside the purple purse says there's a video of Fancy's showing that she owed Pink Cat $700. Where's that video at?
I've not seen that.
Is it a video that somebody else put out saying that?
Because I don't believe
because there's no way that she would have owed her that kind of money. I thought that was insane to hear from the
I
beginning.
just don't believe Fancy owes her that
They
kind of
should have
money.
taken that
I
much
don't know
money.
that Fancy owes her anything.
What about all the money that she collected from her supporters? Like Fancy did that, right? Fancy held a little collection to get money for her supporters and then expected them to give her more money when she was trying to come home and couldn't make it all the way home and she was crying and acting crazy. I know that's not what this video is about, but still.
I really don't.
I don't think Fancy owes her anything. I do not.
I don't. And then the thing with Veda come up about Brandy's page. So Brandy texted me one morning.
Okay, so that was it. Let me hold up. So that was really all I had to comment on for that video. Love Kendall, love Brandy. I think they're lovely. I just disagree about a couple of the things. Like I do think that Fancy, because of Fancy they were going, I feel like Fancy should have paid 100% of the trip. I do. And should have gotten her next oil change and tire rotation, because that wear and tear would not have been put on Sarah's car if not for Fancy. So, maybe I'm in the minority, but I think that Fancy should have paid for 100% of that trip. Unless Sarah wanted something like, my friend had a court date and all I got was a stupid t-shirt or something, But yeah. So anyway, that's it for this video. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye.